2023 predictions, cryptocurrency, the entire market, financial stocks, all kinds of good stuff, right? I need to talk about it. If you are new around here, make sure you do leave a like, make sure you do subscribe. If you like the content too, it majorly helps. Let's get this channel growing, right? Let's defy the odds of crypto, let's grow. So, interesting point. I'm going to go on to Bitcoin and the total market cap and some index funds at the end of this video, so stick around. But I want to talk about other things first. For obvious reasons, what do I think is going to happen with the inflation rate? I know these are more a bit of entertainment fun than predictions, so again, not financial advice. I think we're going to go up a little bit in regards to this due to some of the data. Oh, it probably will slow down for a while. I don't think they're going to get to 2% anytime soon. I think it's going to be a long, long time. A lot of people are getting very excited. Oh, pivot's coming. Oh, this is going to happen. Interest rates are still going to go up. Even a pause in the interest rates, not really going to be great in terms of the market. So make sure you're aware of that. 7.1% is still ridiculously high. So make sure you bear that in mind. Another thing, just alluded to it, interest rates. So you can see here, America, relatively high. The UK, relatively high. Relatively high. Most of the countries are a lot higher than normal. A lot of them are in rate hike kind of situations now where they are going to be continuously rate hiking. For example, the euro is starting to scale up. The UK is starting to scale up now versus America. America started earlier. Remember that. So what do I think? I think by 6 to 9 months time we may well start to see 0/negative interest rates happening for a while. But I think we'll get there pretty early. But I think zero interest rate hikes in the US will probably happen first because they started earlier. But that's my overall thought on that. Non-farm payroll coming out today. Actually, interesting point. The consensus is basically 200k. That's a big drop. But we'll see how things go. But in terms of the previous and the forecast and all kinds of stuff like that, they're looking to come in not as hot. So we're looking at, again, further decline of jobs, which is going to be a theme in a second with this video, which you're going to start to notice, right? Again, GDP, gross domestic produce, and all that kind of element around it. You can probably see from the previous to the last, massive changes. Some are going up, a lot of them are going down though, which is kind of the big thing. Look at the UK, for example, a big drop. The US didn't really move much. A lot of countries, a lot of changes. So it'll be interesting to see what's happening here. But you've probably noticed September 2022, what's gonna happen? So what we're looking at, we'll be looking at these numbers and we'll be seeing, do they improve or do they shrink? I think probably going to shrink. Personally, I think they're going to shrink. I think over the course of winter, with the cost of living crisis, certainly in Europe, it probably has stopped a lot of things happening. We're already seeing that in results because what are we seeing now? Layoffs. Now, I've highlighted this. In 2022, we had 1,020 tech companies that had layoffs, quite a lot. If you go to already in 2023, we're 6 days in, we've already seen 17,000 people being laid off in the tech world. You can see here already 11,000 Meta, 10,000 Amazon. Very recently, right, literally days ago, Salesforce, 8,000 people. Amazon, again, more people. So it's adding up. You can see by the data here, by the way. So why is this a big problem for when we're going forward into 2023, you may ask? Recession. If you don't have a job, you don't have money. If you don't have money, you don't invest in companies and the produce that they produce and make and build and what you live on. And it goes around in a vicious circle because then they have to have layoffs and it's a circle. Does that make sense? Does that little circle make sense in terms of how a recession will work? Because if all that happens, the stock price will fall, they have to make layoffs, and it's just creating opportunity. It's creating that they're going to lose even more money in value. It's a scary proposition. So the lagging data is starting to happen now. We're starting to see what I was expecting a while back, job layoffs because of fear. When the media starts talking about, oh, recession, the crunch, oh God, help, it's where the problems will lie even more and people will start panicking because already, this is from October 2022, the US recession, right? This article here pinpoints something. 7 in 10 Americans recently said they are worried about a recession, and 4 in 10 said they are not prepared to handle one before the end of 2023. So already we're seeing, and the rate will show this, in the credit market it's going up. Have you noticed that everywhere you can get like a little interest payment on pretty much most things nowadays? Buy now, pay later. That will be the catalyst, I think, for a bit of pain, in my opinion, for a lot of consumers, because then when that interest rate goes, oh dear, we're going to have a problem. Other things to mention, this is in the UK, but it also follows into America as well. There has been a lot of data coming out recently that the UK and even in the US, the markets in the housing sector is slowing. A lot less new builds are coming, a lot less mortgage applications, all that kind of stuff's kind of coming on, and that will lead to a price fall because people will want to sell their houses and putting them lower. Chain reaction, right? Makes sense. So bear that in mind. Another thing as well, and this is from November time, and we're starting to see more articles recently. I think Honda have released 30% drops recently. I think Tesla very, very recently missed their sales target and their stock price went plummeted. So big factor. Used car prices and new car prices are starting to slip a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how much that will, that whole infrastructure will change, because it's a big, massive sector. We've had supply and demand issues with like certain technology in cars recently, so that could be a factor too. So we're going to bear that in mind. Anyways, let's talk about crypto, because most people I know will be around here, but this, all what I've just said, will have a factor on, because you and the people around you and the market, like anything, it's an open market. It needs money to go up, it needs tradability, it needs volatility, opportunity, right? Brings me on to this video. The Great Crypto Scam, made by James Janney. Now, it's a great video in terms of well produced. Personally, I think he's off on a few points, obviously. Certainly talking about the Ponzi side of it. A lot of it I did agree with, don't get me wrong, and I will probably do a reaction video at some point, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But the whole element of an open market is interesting. It's fueled by fear and greed. We have seen in 2022 that coming to fruition. Personally, an open market is fine. There's always going to be a winner and a loser. There's always going to be that whole saying of the patient will take from the impatient hands. It happens, right? This is why some people are better than others. This leads me to the fact of what could be happening soon. Genesis Trading lays off 30% of the workforce. These are under massive pressure right now. I think they will probably be the next one that could go belly up. And we're going to see a lot of this in 2023. This is my prediction. I believe we're going to see a lot more of this happening. A lot more of these venture capital firms who cannot handle their money, handle leverage, and go a bit too deep. And guess what? I've now gone bust. Oopsie daisy. Which has created a lot of pain for us as well. So you can see here, already limited 30 positions. 30% of its workloads has been, there could be bankruptcy filing coming up very, very soon. The reason why I say that is because there's all kinds of doubts about how much money they've got, and obviously I think Gemini have also got some kind of open interest in this because of obviously money being lent. I think, here we go, 1.67 billion to Gemini customers. Not good. Another prediction. I think we're going to get a lot more fear and FUD, because for obvious reasons you're going to start seeing stuff like this. Huobi future as harsh layoff rumours have been denied. There's been rumours that a lot of layoffs have happened and a lot of things happened in the last few hours essentially as well. With this, prepared to cut up to 1,200 staff, and apparently they've not been paid for a while. So that could be a massive factor. I don't know if that's true or not. Take that with a pinch of salt. But what my prediction is, a lot of exchanges will go belly up. I think not the big ones essentially, but the smaller ones. So make sure you understand where to put your money and do your research before you put your money and leave your money in there. Always get a ledger. There's a link below to my link tree with ledger. Get one. Freaking hell. It's like 60 quid for like the S Plus or whatever it is, or £70. Get it. It's worth its weight in gold, because if you have got your private keys, you are okay. Even if the market does crumble in this year. We'll see. Anyways, the last thing I want to talk about, the obvious thing as well, is the search traffic and the interest around crypto. I think will continue to fall. Sorry guys, I know. But I don't see a catalyst just yet. towards the end of 2023, we may well get the halving narrative, which could be a bit of interest for crypto to do well. Scarcity of Bitcoin, and it always does well with the miners, and a bit of a push. This market has been really hard in 2022. It has been, obviously. I've enjoyed it. It's been good, right? But only because I've been talking about this for the last year, literally, since January, even November or December of 2021. I've been saying, bug out, get out, take your money, enjoy your life for a bit. It's going to come down. And it did. And I know a lot of people didn't like it when I said that, but it did happen. Yeah, it's one of those things. When things go crazy as they were, it's quite easy to see when you zoom out. So let's talk about some predictions in terms of markets. Personally, I think this whole area here, and I've been saying this for a while, between 14 and 12k will probably be a very, very good area for Bitcoin to go into. It's taken its time. I reckon a lot of boring action this year, a lot of sideways action. I do trade sometimes. They're very rare because the market is what it is at the minute. It's a bit crap. It's not really trending. You'll probably know if you're in my Patreon, my journal is pretty slow at the moment because nothing's really happening. I'd rather just focus on other things right now, but there's no real point. Anyways, moving on to the obvious. Let's talk about this. I've been looking at these areas for a while. This area more notably, this area is a previous level that's been lost. So I did buy a little bit around here. We've obviously dropped below a bit, but I am looking around $550 billion is where most of my big orders will go. There's a few go off in terms of price action of key levels on my altcoin. So yes, I am buying the lows, or trying to at least. If they go lower, I'm fine with that. What I'm playing with is profit. It's totally fine, and I'm happy to do so. It's up to you what you want to do. Not financial advice, but it's your money. It's your price action. It's your asset that you've researched, and it is ultimately your decision. However, just don't worry too much about the drawdown if you believe in a project. If you've done your research and you believe in a project, it will go lower probably if things like what I've just said at the start of this video probably come into fruition, if we're going to go into a bit of a crisis, which is looking more likely than not at the moment right now. But when we're looking at that, I think if the BTC market, well, not so much the BTC market, the entire market goes down to these levels, I think it'd be a fantastic opportunity if you understand crypto. I know a lot of people will be like watching this video and going, oh my God, it's all over. It's going to end up in a massive, explosion. We've been in worse situations, let's be fair, right? Let's just talk about that as an obvious one. But other things to look at as well, Ethereum, right? I've got orders down in these levels, 900 and I think 750, I think I've got orders, which is quite low, but I'm quite hopeful that it's probably going to happen at some point. It tends to happen. I'll just change my fib back to where my normal one is. Hello. So it looks more colourful. But you see the picture. I think we are going to get another leg down at some point eventually. But if it flies up beforehand, I'll be more than happy to be like, yes, give me some extra liquidity because I think it'd be good. But I think the market is very much reliant on the news at the minute, and it could be very interesting. Other things to look at, like Polkadot. You all know that I love this. Yeah, it's a slow grind. It's looking horrible and it's looking like it's dying. But for me, it's secure the bag, grow the bag. The narrative of multi-chain is probably much better than the narrative of NFTs at the minute, in my opinion, for infrastructure of the entire market. That's my personal belief. Another one as well, BNB. I still think this is overvalued at $256. I think this is crazy money. I think it will probably go sub 200 again at some point, and maybe even lower. We'll see where things do go. XRP lawsuit, is that going to be finally unraveled at some point? I have no idea. But for me, I think it will probably go below these lows at some point, depending on the lawsuit. It is taking its time. It's crazy when you think about it. But other than that, that's me pretty much done. I'm not going to talk about the S&P or anything. I do think there's a lot of narrative for the market to continue going up in the long term in terms of network effect and the potential adoption of technology. But it's going to be a slow grind. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years. I've said this even with the height of the bull run. Adoption's about 5-10 years away. It's still hard. Think of it that way. Anyways, if you're new around here, if you leave a like, please. It'd be nice. Check out my Patreon if you want to see extra content. I will be back doing more content next week on my Patreon and on Learning Crypto as well. Yeah, the videos this year is going to be pretty awesome.